Hello and welcome to the Asshole Book Club. Today I'm going to be, I say today, but it's literally seconds after I stopped recording my last video. It'll be a different day for you guys. Anyway, I'm going to be looking at RPG horror stories on Reddit. As I explained in my last video, it's an attempt to bridge the gap between my Reddit content and my D&D content. Try to get people on my channel more interested in both. I don't know. Also, as I said before, you might have seen these stories on other YouTube channels because there's quite a few people who do RPG horror stories, and they jump on any story they can get their hands on, just like I do. So, why is that open? Strange. Don't get mad at me if you've heard this story before on another channel, because, what can I do about it? This one is called Player Goes Extremely Dark, and it was posted 9 hours ago and has a violence warning, so it's sure to be tons of fun. Well, we have another person who loves to write books. Alright. So the setting is a noir Swedish tabletop role-playing game. Think film noir plus 1984 plus low urban fantasy. I'm assuming that's referring to George Orwell's 1984, not just the year 1984. The player characters: one, a private detective, and the other two, mafia hitmen. So there's only 3 players? Okay. Had been tasked by the local Don with solving a string of murders. They have reason to believe that a member of a rival gang knows something about the case, and they can't find his address, but they do track down his mistress's apartment. They manage to bluff their way inside, pretending to be her old classmates. She somehow buys this. They learn that the guy they're looking for will be coming over in about an hour, and that the mistress is pregnant. Wow, that's the second story in a row that had pregnancy involved. That's strange. When the woman has her back turned, the private detective grabs a table lamp and smashes it into her skull. She drops like a wet sack. She is then handcuffed, gagged, and stuffed into a wardrobe. Jesus. An hour of waiting around later, the guy opens the door carrying a bouquet of flowers. They all jump him, pistol whip him a couple times, and then tie him up, getting ready to interrogate him. So far, so good. Is it? They just assaulted a pregnant woman. I know it's a fictional game, but sometimes it's like, Jesus. So far, so good. Beating the pregnant woman unconscious seemed a bit excessive, but hey-o. What the fuck? Detective PC immediately starts pulling the guy's pants down and putting a cigarette out on his penis. She then pulls out a switchblade and threatens to castrate him. Following this, she pulls the now awake mistress out next to him and threatens to make her not so pretty no more. What the fuck? Well, that went from 0 to a fucking 100 real fast. Now it seems like your party is just demented. I don't know what to tell you. Note that they haven't even asked him any questions yet. Torture was steps 1 through 5. When they finally start asking him about the murders, he replies that he has no clue what they're talking about. Detective PC is unsatisfied with this, decides to go full Mr. Blonde and cut the mistress's ear off. Someone in the comments tell me who Mr. Blonde is. I don't understand that reference. When the guy keeps stonewalling her, she tries to make him eat it, or she'll start cutting other things off. Guy's obviously fucking furious, but stays quiet. She stabs him in the balls. She then puts the blade to the mistress's stomach and asks if he wants to see their kid. At this point, the other two players, who I remind you are mafia hitmen, have gone from looking a bit weirded out to completely horrified, in and out of character. What the fuck, they say. I've honestly been kind of amused by just how fucked up the situation is, but the other players are clearly not having a good time, so I have the guy crack and give them the information. The detective thanks him very much, puts her snub-nosed revolver to his forehead, and executes him on the spot. Then she just casually strolls out like an asshole, leaving the poor girl bleeding and crying next to the dead father of her child. You learn a lot about people sometimes playing these games. Funny thing is, the player herself is one of the genuinely sweetest and friendliest person I know, but once she gets into character, she can invent some scary shit. I mean, you're part of the problem here, right? Like, you were having fun with all of this, and you just decided to let it keep going until your other players started not having fun. Like, you have to set boundaries at some point, you know. Killing an unborn baby and, like, assaulting someone's sexual organs are pretty fucked up. Like, yeah, you're part of the problem by not nipping that in the bud immediately. Top comment says, makes you wonder why she chose to be a detective. I don't know what classes there are in the game, but it seems like detective is the exact wrong one for a crazy murder hobo. Next comment says, it sounds like the player is frustrated that their plan isn't working out. Okay, pregnant mistress, some positive relationship, brought flowers, becomes a hard as stone guy that doesn't puke, seeing his lover and mother of his potential child mutilated, doesn't offer a peep. And there has been no pillow talk where the mistress knows the answers and starts spilling the beans. Like, come on, a group of gangsters ambushes you and directly attacks your penis first thing before you even asking questions. You know they're insane and have no upper limit to violence. Well, the story probably didn't have like, if it's a pre-written story or something the DM wrote out, it probably didn't have that guy as an informant. They just chose to go there, and the DM didn't know how to roll with it. Okay, next comment says, a lot of this is just insane. Like, your players and you are just unhinged, from what I can tell. Next comment says, I'm guessing she thought film noir and instantly went, well, I'll play a private dick then. But pretty much every time she encounters a roadblock, her default response is... Why did I say it like that? Her default response is violence. In the situation described above, they were kind of stressed for time, so I suppose she figured going extreme would be the quickest way to get info out of them. The hitmen are ironically much more likely to find a peaceful situation, but one of them is secretly an undercover cop, so for her, it makes sense. Oh, that's the OP responding. Okay. Why'd my thing freeze? 1 second. Okay, good. Someone responded to the original poster. That makes zero fucking sense. A private dick is still a detective and an arm of the law. Makes absolutely no sense to let them get away with needless torture and senseless murder. Yeah. And they responded to that again. I don't necessarily disagree, but if that's how she wants to play the character, I won't stop her. We'll make sure her actions have consequences, though. You can bet that the poor woman is going to roid up and come gunning for her. You're just a bad DM, I think. Like, obviously all RPGs have, violence and murder and that kind of thing, but if someone wants to mutilate a person and kill a baby, that's where you should draw the line, you know? There should always be boundaries, and Sounds like you really don't have any boundaries. I know this is assuming a lot, but I think you probably, whoever you are, a male, female, have a crush on this girl and are letting her get away with a lot because you think that'll help you get into her pants. And that's stupid. Or maybe you're just as sadistic as she is, and well, really, you shouldn't be posting on this because, you don't really have a leg to stand on here. You and your players are just fucked up. Either embrace it and don't tell anyone about it, or set some ground rules. Up to you. Next story posted a day ago. 5e kids versus Cthulhu equals crying and rage quitting. And it has the word medium next to it. I don't know what that means, but Alright. If it feels like I'm reading these too fast, let me know in the comments. I'm just trying to make it video length without having to, a reasonable length of a video because everyone on RPG Horror Stories thinks they're an author. Just comes with the territory. Alright. I run Call of Cthulhu, have for 4 editions, love it, in all its various forms, and delicious terror. I've decided to run the Gateways to Terror 7e scenarios on Roll20 not too long ago. Wow, Call of Cthulhu is already up to 7 editions? Never played it, so I wouldn't know, but damn. 95% goes well. I earned some permanent players and formed a few great campaigns out of it, but there was a couple incidents. It was, I believe, the Necropolis scenario. 2 players are new and have come from 5e and wanted to play Cthulhu. They claim to have owned the starter set and read it and familiarized themselves with the rules of Call of Cthulhu 7e. I thought their character stories were a little too verbose for a one-shot, but that shows some moxie, so I was like, sweet, right? Well, as you may be aware, in Cthulhu, there is a mechanic called sanity. Not aware, actually. Never played it. Leave a comment down below if you have. Woe betide those who fail too many sanity rolls. But as a linchpin mechanic of the system, and being assured the 2 were familiar with the rules, I wielded them to full effect, as any competent keeper would. Well, now you're just throwing words at me, like I don't know what the fuck you just said. Those are the rules and you're playing by them. You could have just said that, but you had to get all poetic with it. Douchebag. As these gents did indeed fail sanity rolls, one in fact so badly that his character fled in terror right into a collapsing brick wall, killing him after being buried. The other rolled, failed, fired his gun in abject terror, striking a fellow investigator who was fine with it, by the way, being a Cthulhu player veteran. Both of these gents flipped their lids. First of all, just your use of the word gents makes you seem like a douche. I don't know what it is about people on RPG Horror Stories, but you just seem like people I wouldn't want to be around. I don't know. Some of them. Most of them. Not all, obviously. The last person seemed fine. No, wait. Person before last. I don't know. Most of you suck. Both of these gents flipped their lids. One said, "That is not in the rules, why would it be?" I calmly showed them and they started yelling about how stupid it was and trying to get the rest of the group to join them in yelling at me. The group were like, "What are you doing, dude? It's part of the game. It's a one-shot." Q, other kid who shot fellow PC in terror, agreeing with the complaining, saying I was taking away their player agency and that I was an abusive DM. It's Keeper Kid, they say in brackets. God. They then quit all contact with the group and blocked everyone after their Whisper campaign failed, even going so far as messaging people in other games of mine to warn them of me. Lol. Failing to grasp that people they were contacting were not only friends but avid players of Call of Cthulhu, I have killed dozens of times in games. Lol. Fast forward to a few months, and the same rage quitting happens when other players, with only 5e experience, fails a sanity roll and gets taken out because of it. Mid-game straight up tells everyone to F off and leaves in a huff. At least they didn't contact everyone after, but damn. Any other Cthulhu judges suffer the same douchery, or was this just a case of, in 5e you are superheroes, in Cthulhu you are powerless, and their egos couldn't handle it? No, I think it's just your ego. Like, you somehow think playing Call of Cthulhu makes you superior, and instead of trying to ease people into the system, you decide to kill them outright. Like, I don't know. And, yeah, you just sound like a asshole. Like, if I was getting introduced into a new game system and I encountered you, I'd be pretty turned off from the system if that's what I think all the other players are going to be like. Alright, top comment, but I really don't like you. Just saying, like, you kind of suck. Alright, top comment says, reading the story. Oh yeah, if you didn't realize they are playing a horror game and think that they heard the Old Man Henderson story and think they'll go in and win, you can get that reaction. My pedantic ass. It's not Judge, it's Keeper. What? Judge, it's Keeper. I would have brought it up if you hadn't called the kid out for calling you a DM. But they said Keeper. It's not Judge, it's Keeper. They didn't say Judge, though. They said Keeper, so you're calling them out for something they didn't do, and this is why I'm starting to think Call of Cthulhu players are just annoying. I don't know. I refuse to play Cthulhu without at least 3 characters pre-made and ready to go. I've done this before. See, I've played a system where you could die easily in a... I played a game system, whatever you want to call it. It was called Tremulous, and I had a pretty good time. I went in with a only strength-based character and just punched my way out of all my problems. And I did fine. This person is annoying. Alright, everyone is just comparing that they had it worse in their games. You do realize that gaming is supposed to be fun, right? Like, it's not supposed to be overly difficult or just exhausting to fucking play the game. Your job as a DM or a keeper, whatever you want to fucking call it, is to create an adventure for someone to play through. If you don't let them play through that adventure or, just lord yourself over them, then they're not going to want to play. Simple as that. Anyway, that was my last story for this video, so please like, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and comment if you have any opinions. Am I wrong about my assumption of Call of Cthulhu? Let me know. Or comment whatever you want. I'd be happy to hear from any of you. Have a good day, everyone. I will see you later, and hey da.